This is Visions Under Construction. A chance for our guests to share their visions and tell us what they're working on.
Except there's no guests.
For their continued support, we would like to thank Simwood, straight-talking, forward-thinking telecoms. Simwood.com. Why not make CloudOnyx your communication partner? Go to cloudonyx.io. You can find everything about the VUC at vuc.me.
Not
thanks
everything.
to Bluehost. And thanks also to zipdx.com, the conference bridge,
Which may not be
and to
up.
voxbone.com for local rate dial.
Which hopefully is up. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, what am I looking for here? Oh, this. Yes. Thank you very much. We're going to talk today amongst ourselves with Mr. James Bodie. Mr.
Hello.
Smith. Oh, sorry. I talked over your hello. Say hello again.
Hello.
I like that. But you know, you have a great angle. Let me put you. Look at that. Andy, have you noticed his jaunty angle?
Jaunty?
Yeah, don't you think? Look.
Oh, he's certainly well lit from the side there.
But also, it's kind of an angle. Look at the angle.
Is the angle good?
The ship is sinking there, James.
Oh, yeah, it is actually.
And he's in the captain's.
Oh,
No, you have to lean to your right just to keep yourself upright.
I do.
Fantastic. And apparently Voxbone dial-ins work, so go ahead and take advantage of those.
And
yes,
Simwood works.
and unfortunately, there is but water in this. You probably won't
I
see-
have water here in my IP Cortex drinking water bottle.
Well,
I
what
didn't
you
get
got?
one of those. Cheers, I just have water in here.
That's gin. Don't BS us, Andy, please. All right, we were talking about something. Too bad Michael is not quite here yet, but we can go over this. So I'd like to congratulate you guys on having the absolute worst connection 220 volt plugs and outlets in the world. Although there was USB. Is that a common thing everywhere now, those USB things that we had in the hotel?
Yes, absolutely.
It is. And just to say, we don't have 220 volts. We actually, it's actually about 233, I think, now.
Actually, it's 220 to 240, but yes.
Yeah, it used to be 240. I think they've reduced it. Because we get a lot of our power from the France, you know.
Oh, well, okay. That means that on my tax dollars or euros, well, you would know about euros. So
It's all those French nuclear power stations, isn't it? Oh, here's
the
Michael.
ones dotted around the coast facing England.
and here's Mike.
Now we are connected.
Indeed. Anyway,
Are connected. Hey,
so the debate is which is better, 240 volts or 220 or 110, as is used in the US. And as we were discussing earlier,
I'm actually a 50 cycle man myself. So.
the amount of power that must be lost in resistive losses due to the fact that North America uses 110 as opposed to 220, it must be enormous.
I wonder if someone has. By the way, I can't look at IRC, as you well know. So
Yeah, we can.
please.
And it's
Now joining
Jay-
in wideband.
yeah, Jay Carpenter has just joined.
Well, just to say, if anybody has any comments, it would be nice to be able to read them.
We have ZipDX.
As a matter of fact, we could actually see. This is why it would be nice to have it, because we could invite Jay to join us and talk about whatever he wants. But I can't even see IRC, let alone join. Let me see. Disconnected from server. Connection to IRC server lost. All right, let's pretend that I never said that I wanted to be Randulo. Nickname. Testing 1 2 3.
Try webchat.freenode.net.
Well, that's what this is. It's encrusted. All right, here we go. Couldn't look up your blah blah blah. Chat here. Hello.
I am not a robot.
I'm there. All right, good. So I am testing 1 2 3. Amazing that no one took that, huh?
Okay, Jay has just commented, just checking in. So, Jay, it's wonderful to see you.
Jay, of course, I can't do DM, I don't think, from here. from this web interface. Anyway, yes. So
Yes, you can.
we
Yes,
vote
you can.
on the web. I don't know.
People do it to me all the time.
Let's see.
I don't know how to do it, but
I'm not sure. But anyway, Michael, you didn't chime in. Who's got the best or the worst? What do you think of the UK's plugs, outlets?
3-pin plugs, a la
And Michael's been in the UK. He used to work for people.
a la that.
Show us.
Which side with that side. So the big advantage of these plugs is that you never ever manage to break one. And note that the earth pin is considerably longer than the two, the live and the neutral. And note that they have
Do we care about
insulation.
why?
Well, the reason for that is that as you push it into the socket, there's a gate which opens up.
Correct.
The idea is to stop children and people like that from sticking
Their tongue.
things into the sockets and electrocuting them.
That is good. However, if you don't need the ground, what happens is you have to stick a plastic thing in there. And if you remember those Neximo, is that the right name? Neximo? They gave away those converters, and I had one with me. So I used it in the room, and you have to... I wish I had it here, but basically...
Well, no, you don't, because it has three pins.
Hold on. It looks like this. And then you click, so the pins are down here. Then you have to click this thing that comes up like this. And to go. All right, you get the point? There is a thing that has to do what you just explained, which is unlock the other two.
Yes, which has to be in front of the other two.
Indeed.
So it opens the gate before you can go in.
Michael is not old enough to know this, but I have a friend who is older than I am, and that's something. Years ago explained to me, because he worked for the Department of Water and Power in Los Angeles, and he said that, you know, the U.S. used to be on 50 cycles. I think everybody who's geeky knows that probably. And when they changed to 60, the Department of Water and Power went around and changed refrigerator motors and clocks all over Los Angeles. Now, that is something that today people would go, yeah, throw them away. You know what I mean? It was a pretty funny story.
I see no need to compete. That is to say, you got what you guys got over there. We've got what we've got, and you are wasteful in other manners, and we are wasteful in that manner. And the lovely thing about standards is that everybody says, "I've got a better one," which just increases the population of standards.
Yep, I would agree entirely with that. And there's absolutely nothing that is going to change with us moaning about anything.
Nope.
Okay.
So that's the end of that conversation.
So that's seen and heard. Now, next thing is the end of XMPP support for Google Voice means that the gentleman, Bill Simon, who had the DV to SIP bridge.
The Simonics interface.
Good one, yeah. Very interesting guy, very nice. And I was using that constantly. And now, presumably, I haven't looked. My Polycom does not show that as disconnected, but I assume it's not working anymore. As he said, he tried a different solution. He was trying to keep it running, but on a kind of a hacking thing, you know, no deal with anybody. But apparently it was too expensive in compute time or whatever to do it. So he sent a thing around, and I just got this last week, I think, saying that that's over. Now, James, you said that the Obi-Hi stuff from the 200 series on, I think?
Yeah, it's only the really old, the 100 series that has stopped working. All of the other Obi-Hi products will still work natively.
And how do they do this? Do you know?
They have a special arrangement.
Yeah, well, my impression after today, I looked at the site a little bit, and the site talks about getting a third-party SIP provider account.
No, you don't need that. It'll work natively.
So you just log in on your Google thing and it works.
Yeah, in fact, the easy way of doing it is not to log on to the device itself, but to log on to the ObiTalk portal.
Right. There's a thing, a box to check.
And what you end up doing is you set it up on there, and then you go back to your Obi-Hi device, and there's it'll give you a sequence to dial on your OB High device, which you then dial into the OB portal or management thing, and once you've authenticated that way, then it will then load your configuration down onto the OB High. And the great thing about that is then you don't have to worry about the web interface. It'll just sort itself out.
And you can call out on that or not?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I've got a Google Voice number set up on there. In fact, I've got a Montana number for historic reasons on my OB High. Was it 2024, is it? Or 2032?
The year? I don't know.
No, the OB High model.
Oh.
It's the original OB High handset I've got here.
Oh, you have a phone. I have
Yes, I have a phone, but I also have a selection. I have a wide selection of OB High devices here. In fact, do you recognize what that is?
Oh, that's the real old one, right?
Yeah, you would probably be thinking that this is a Sapura SPA 2000, but it isn't actually. It's a Vega Stream. It's a Vega.
That is well, you are the pioneer in this area.
And this was in the days of Vega Stream before they were bought by Sangoma.
Right.
And Vega Stream and I were the two importers of Sapura devices into UK.
Right. Got to say that Sapura phone that became the Linksys phone that became then something else probably. Those phones, I still have that. I still have one in California. Those are the best phones I've ever used as far as, first of all, rebooting in about 5 seconds.
You've got one of these as well, haven't you? This is an OB110.
I do. Thank you for showing it. I don't have to get up and
unfortunately, it's now lost its Google Voice. But interestingly enough, all OB devices, I don't know whether you can see that, each OB device has got a 9-digit number.
Mm-hmm.
A little known fact. Well, they don't actually make it publicly known, but every OB device, when you plug it in, registers using that identity, and then you can call it.
Mm.
And indeed, they have a corporate hub which allows people to control corporate deployments of their OB Highs, which means that JB has control of mine, and that's frightening.
It is frightening. Michael, do you have one of these devices? I mean, you've been around here for a while.
I gave up on ATAs a long time ago. However, I do have a couple of OB High phones.
I knew it. Oh, the phones. Okay.
Yeah.
Why would you give up on ATAs? It seems to me that if somebody, this is a little like having the stereo where you, rather than having the thing that has everything in it, you have the turntable, the amp, the speakers, and so on.
No, because ATAs are not HD voice capable. They're inherently limited. And from the time I got a SIP DECT system, I was not going to use ATAs anymore. So I bought the first SIP DECT system available in North America, which was from Snom at the time. Their little M3, I think it was called.
Snom, yes.
Snom. And that was fine. And then we ended up with Gigasets for a while after that, and now we have some VTech stuff. But SIP DECT trounces ATAs in every way.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's one area in which an ATA still does have one tiny little edge, and that's where you need an FXS and an FXO port working together.
I live somewhere where FXOs aren't required. It's called the 21st century.
Yeah, but there are many places where you do want to use that arrangement.
Now, I understand because we used the FXO port on the Gigaset because the Gigaset could take an analog line and also do SIP DECT as well. And we used the FXO port there to receive our gate phone at one time when we had an analog gate phone, and that was a nice combination.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not sure if it's not here, so I can't look at it. I'm not sure if
here in UK, it's very difficult to get a naked DSL line. So inevitably you pick up a landline as well. And so our home phone line instead of going directly into a phone, goes into an FXO port and then is spat out somewhere else. The advantage of that is that all inbound calls we try and direct to the landline, and then outbound calls are all VoIP. And in that way, my wife is never responsible for blocking the inbound phone line, because when she's on the phone, inevitably it's an outbound call, and so the inbound line is always open. If that makes sense.
No, because nobody uses lines anymore. Everybody.
Well, people
mobile.
do.
Oh, you don't have any mobile service out there, right? Your little
I have mobile service.
Oh, in your little valley there, they don't have any mobile service.
Funny, phones all seem to work within about a couple of 100 meters of my house. I can't think why.
That is odd, but as far as voice goes, the signal, down here the signal's terrible too. So not bragging about anything. Ironic that I have huge internet bandwidth, and my phone doesn't work down here. So.
It is.
So
I have just found a new inbox OB110.
Brand new in its box.
Brand new in its box.
Why don't you take that down to the British Museum?
Yeah, I've also got an OB300.
If you have a little door that you need held open, you just wedge it in there, and it'll hold the door open. I do have some news relative to a past guest, though.
Okay.
And that is, I had a little back and forth with Rich from Sub 2R this week.
Oh yes.
And he's
yeah, I saw the new.
My God, talk about the pregnancy that just would not end. They are working on delivering the first production batch of these cameras. And
at last.
Mike, you didn't tell the story of how the capacitor exploded because they were the wrong polarity or something.
That I didn't know, but they've got an initial production run of the cameras that they aren't yet ready to deliver because they have a bit of code that needs to be written for the FPGA to achieve the baseline functionality. And they said they have it modeled in the development environment, but they don't have it actually deployed yet. So they're trying to close the loop on that. They say the circuitry is good, like the physical hardware is good, but
now that the capacitor exploded, yeah,
getting the code going is something else. But here's the thing: he has said for the longest time that they've had to use the chintzy kind of built-in Microsoft camera app in Windows 10 in order to record clips using their camera via USB, and this is because there's at least two ways of accessing webcams or USB cameras in Windows. There's an ancient old way that almost every bit of software uses called Direct Show, and it's long deprecated, but widely supported. And there's a new method, which is only about 5 years old, called Microsoft Media Framework, and almost no apps use that. But it turns out that it is a much more efficient way to do things. And in order to get 4K video off a webcam, you have to use Microsoft Media Framework, which is why they've been using the Microsoft Camera app. And they've been working on writing their own app. Well, we finally got, we finally got the folks at vMix, in chasing down a problem with this Logitech Brio webcam, have implemented a Microsoft Media Framework method for talking to webcams, which means that there's pretty good odds that we'll be able to use vMix with the Sub 2R camera in the coming weeks.
That would be great.
So,
did we get into? Did I tell you about the guys who were doing ComCon last week? That they were, well, at least the Giles, I can think of a British pronunciation of that. Giles, who does a podcast on YouTube.
Oh, it was Giles, was it? I know him.
You know
so, that? Okay. Yeah, I know. Well, I know him. Yes.
Well, those guys they were using it. I think they used it at ComCon actually, and they do this.
They did.
They do this thing every Monday at 8 p.m. UK time. So everybody has to convert that. I think it's called the World of Live. World of Live.
World of Live.
WOLS. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a Facebook group, and they are a sort of a parallel to us in many regards.
In a certain way, in that they just have a bunch of talking heads that say whatever comes into their head. They're certainly parallel with us right now, since we don't have a guest and no.
And insofar as they come from a little different background, they don't use Hangouts. They use Zoom.us as a video conference platform.
Well, wait a minute. They're on YouTube Live. Does that work with that? Is that how that works? Because they're
they do a Zoom
Live, but they don't use events.
They do a Zoom session that they then use vMix to capture and link to YouTube Live.
So if you go on, okay. So if you wanted to take part, if we go, yeah, let's get into this, how would we get on?
You would join their Zoom session.
But hopefully not through the Facebook group, because
no, it's just a web thing. It's just a WebRTC based client. It's sort of just an alternate to Hangouts, right?
Yeah. And there are many of those, of course, including Jitsi that we've used many times. Oh, by the way, finally met Boris.
There's a difference though. Zoom is not peer-to-peer, and it's dead stable. Yeah, Zoom, the company, funded some early Jitsi development.
Interesting. I don't know if James and Andy, if you knew Boris before, or if you talked to him when he was there.
I didn't actually.
He's the guy who does all the work basically now. Certainly the leg work, and he was the one who was setting up our servers and things like that. Did you meet him, James? James is muted still.
James is
doing
other things.
Well, he was making noise on Michael's.
Well, I don't mind you muting me as long as you just say I've muted you.
I did,
because otherwise I keep on burbling away.
Oh, did you meet
I've
Boris?
got no idea. Yeah, I've met him before. I think he's been to ClueCon before.
Yeah,
a couple of times.
Oh, ClueCon. Yeah, I haven't been to ClueCon. Michael's going to ClueCon, right?
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, Michael, what are you going to be using in terms of video systems at ClueCon?
Well, what I'm going to do is overlaying what Ken traditionally does. We will be, except that where they had been using some little handy cams before and running them through some adapters to get them into his production switcher. Instead, we will be using some PTZ Optics cameras that are being rented. And they have both traditional HDSDI out and also network video out. So Ken will be taking the HDSDI video into his switcher, which goes into the projectors, also gets recorded. I will be taking the network streams into vMix and slicing and dicing it and feeding. I think we're going to do Facebook Live, as they say. They want to do Facebook. We'll also be recording it. And we will also be feeding a monitor in the green room and a monitor in the other room where they had all the 3D printers and stuff.
Okay, so, I'm guessing those PTZ cameras will be well forward again. So
one is going to be at the very far back, at the back of the room, because there always was. Last year, there was a camera at the very back of the room center that sort of has a wide shot. And the other one is going to be sort of 3 or 4 yards back from the podium, if you remember. It was in the little walkway.
Okay.
I will show you right here. This is how they will be mounted.
Okay, so not really very obtrusive.
No.
So they don't get in the way.
No. They're going to be mounted on lighting standards, and the lighting standards are going to be sort of taped to a table so that hopefully they won't get too wobbly. But these lighting standards have a ball head on them that allows me to level them out and.
So what comes out of those cameras? Is it IP or is it something else?
Both. They can do. Actually, the cameras are tri-mode. They do NDI over IP, which is lightly compressed, very high bandwidth. They also do HDSDI, which is a normal, coaxial cable that video people are accustomed with, and they have USB connectors on them.
Ooh.
So they're tri-mode cameras. One is a 12 times camera. That's the one that will be on closer to the podium. and the other is a 20 times lens on it, and I will have basically PTZ remote control, which means I can get different shots, but I am not planning to try and track anybody because that's extremely tedious and also difficult to watch. But it just means if for example, as Anthony's doing his keynote, he tends to wander on the stage from left to right, and I'll be able to get a reasonable framing of him that won't be a great whacking wide shot. I'll be able to have something, be able to modify the framing, because we weren't changing the framing at all last year.
Okay. One of the recurring issues or challenges that we have is how to get up close and personal with some of the tiny stuff that pops up in the dangerous demos. Is there any way that you could have a wander camera to get up really close?
That's kind of why I have this little PTZ camera sitting right here. Hang on, get it into shots. I was thinking about getting a little something. Honestly, if the Wi-Fi is good enough, hang on, find a piece of wood, knock on it. If the Wi-Fi is good enough, we can put an RTSP camera app on a mobile phone, and I can pick that up.
Okay, and then just have a camera operator just get close in. Yeah.
So, for example, I can't do it right now, but you've seen me do a doggy cam using my mobile phone.
Yes.
And you can just do that with a free RTSP app, but you got to have Wi-Fi you can rely upon to do that. Okay.
Well, I noted that Abby, Anthony's daughter, did a little bit of that last year for the little, you said the word DOG, didn't you? For some of the work that the youngsters were doing. She actually had a wander camera to get up close and personal to some of the wild and wacky devices.
What she actually had was just she actually just had a USB, a webcam, a Logitech webcam plugged into a laptop, and I don't know what she was doing with that.
But that seemed to work remarkably well. The quality of the video out of that was surprisingly good.
Okay, that may not be the one I was thinking of. She also had a Handycam she was walking around with, but it was not connected to anything.
Right. Okay.
So, and doing a, how to put it, there is no plan to have a wireless connection to that quality of a camera at this point. But
yeah,
I got to admit, one of the things is I'm operating within a set of assumed constraints. I've basically laid out the cost of these rental cameras because we needed some kind of a solution in that realm. But I'm trying to be very cost effective.
Yes. Well, I think these days the cameras in handheld devices like iPhones and things like that are just so good. You can get away with it.
Accepting that the image sensors themselves are decent. The problem is they're not very flexible. The lenses are crap, and you need a real zoom lens if you want to get close in on something. And
I think you can get accessories for that purpose for the iPhone, not so much for Android phones because there's so many different ones. But I know there are lenses you snap on, some kind of lenses for the iPhone though. But yeah, that is the biggest problem between phones and cameras, obviously.
Yeah, like I will have my Canon DSLR there, and it is conceptually possible that we could use that. The only trouble is getting it back. Doing a live thing with it would be. There's no plan for that at present.
So, in terms of live streaming, then is this going to be done using normal live streaming methods, or is it going to be done via a FreeSwitch instance? So
no, it's not going to be done using a FreeSwitch instance.
It's not?
It'll be nope.
Why not?
I asked about that, and well, I would say there's no compelling reason to do it.
Well, what are they doing then? YouTube Live through an injection?
Facebook Live.
Oh, Facebook Live. Well, it makes sense.
Same thing. Same thing. Facebook Live, just an RTM. You know, you send an RT MP stream off vMix up to Facebook, and away you go, and
yeah,
and that's fine.
I can't watch it, but there are billions of people who can.
I'm not sure why they're interested in Facebook. I'm also I don't particularly care whether it's Facebook or whether it's YouTube Live.
Well, YouTube Live doesn't require you to log in, though. That's the big difference. Unless Facebook Live, I don't know, maybe Facebook. Can you watch Facebook Live without being on Facebook? I guess you could, maybe.
I'm not sure.
Don't mind their cookies, which I delete every day, even though I'm not even on Facebook anymore. But big deal, you know.
You know, okay, I'm going to have a wee bit of a rant here. It's slightly off topic, but
this is unusual.
Yeah, really. We're hey, this is a safe space for being on topic. Go ahead, Michael.
So here's the thing. So I am the vice president of communications of our civic association, and what does that mean? It means that I administer the Facebook page, I administer the website, I manage a mailing list, which we send out messages via MailChimp, and I put together the occasional print newsletter, door hanger, whatever, you know, crap that litters the neighborhood. And this all is on a volunteer basis, accepting that being me, I try to do, you know, decent documentations, good graphic presentations, and somewhat amusing, whatever. But anyway, so I got, somebody sends me something that's intended to be put in a MailChimp message that goes out to everybody. And I just have to hang my head because it's like, wow, this is just completely inappropriate. I mean, it'd be like saying, you know, could you please put this on your website, except all they've given me is a JPEG, and the JPEG has 5 paragraphs of typeset in it. I was like, this is almost like pre-internet thinking. This is like, you know, I could see if we were going to print a postcard and mail it out, this would be appropriate. But if you want me to put something online, what good is a JPEG with a bunch of type embedded in it? And then to have to explain it, and they look at you like you're being difficult.
If you put it on Google Drive, it'll be automatically converted into text if it's clear.
Well, it's not. They're using fancy. They're using fancy typefaces because it's a holiday thing. So it's like Yeah. But I'm like, you know, so I know everybody. They're all volunteers, and so I just have to try and be gracious and offer to help with sort of design or find somebody to help with design. But you have to design for the medium. If you're doing something for television, you design TV graphics. Yeah. If you're doing something for print, you design print, etc.
Crazy stuff. I had a funny experience this week. Is that this is the end of the school year, so I'm renting an instrument from a music store, and they sent out a thing to 50 or 100 people about returning the instruments because it's the end of the school year, but they sent it out all CC. So I've got like 50 addresses. So I wrote back to them and said, you know, guys, you got to use BCC for something like that. And they wrote back saying that their computer guy said that it wasn't possible to use BCC. Fortunately, I had to go to the store for something else. So I went in there, and it took me 30 minutes to show them how to use BCC properly, which was weird to me. Those of us who use this stuff every day, you know, there are people out there who just don't get this idea of send it to yourself in the to field and send it to the other people in the BCC. You can put 50, 100, you know, I don't know what the limit is in something like Gmail or Thunderbird or Outlook, but it's probably pretty high. Well, I thought not thousands, but if it's 50 people, you can certainly get in any of those.
Thunderbird, that's some good wine.
Yeah, I'm telling you, my wife still uses Thunderbird. I should not admit that. I've begged her over and over. You can't, you know, I don't even know if they're updating that thing, but it's just so not 1966, and we're quite far beyond that. What else?
So-
Any new business?
so-
No Corrado here tonight. Must be voting
Colorado.
Scottish independence elections.
That reminds me. That means I need some Italian food. We'll have to have Italian tonight. Oh,
Yeah.
There you
Good.
go.
What else?
So the other things. What's going to happen at ClueCon? I don't know. Well, I now have a better understanding of ClueCon because I've just finished building all of the. There's a bit of a slideshow that has all of the events and the schedules and calendars and thank yous to sponsors and things.
What are the dates at ClueCon? You must have them in your head.
The 23rd through 20
July or August?
July.
July 23rd through 28th or something like that.
Yeah, it starts on the
26,
Monday,
20.
finishes officially on the Thursday, but many people lurk for the Friday. I'm not flying out until the Friday evening.
So you'll be there.
I will, yeah. There's normally a whole load of business gets done in the margins.
Yeah, James has actually signed up for the free switch training. I understand it's.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, one of those little sessions is our good friend Fred
From Uganda.
Fred from Uganda, Katanga, and one of the things he's going to do is going to show how to put free switch in one of these.
Oh, that's great.
So this is a microtic.
Microtic.
Yeah,
Well,
microtic. Not to be confused with necrotic. That's different. But
and they're marvelous little bits of kit. I particularly like this little LCD panel here, which you can do all kinds of useful things with.
Michael, you're still blogging, right?
You know, I wish I could say that. It has fallen off dramatically. I have lots of ideas and things to talk about, and maybe I'll talk about the how we do the ClueCon thing after it's been done.
But you don't have much.
Well, the difficulty is, I always blogged about things I was doing as I was seeking solutions to different problems, and these days I don't have a lot of those problems anymore.
Well, here's a problem that some people have in Tanzania. Is that the right pronunciation?
Tanzania is correct.
So they decided, the president for life presumably decided, that if you want to have a blog, you have to buy a license. And the license costs $900 a year. And $900 a year, I'm sorry, $900. $900 is the income, the yearly income in that country. So it's like if somebody asked you for $60,000 if you want to have a blog, otherwise they're going to arrest you. You have no right to have a blog without a license. So that's kind of interesting. Talk about, yeah.
That seems like an arbitrary attempt to control the freedom of the not press.
I think that is exactly what it is.
So clearly they have free press then.
Well,
The People's Democratic Republic of Tanzania. No.
yeah, it's one of these president for life. You know, like Donald Trump, basically, but slightly different name.
So Jungle asks if the ClueCon videos will be available on YouTube when? Late August? Actually, if we're lucky,
They should be there almost instantaneously, shouldn't they?
well, it depends. If we're live streaming to Facebook, then no. But it depends on whether we need to dress them up a little bit, you know, tag them and whatnot.
Top and tail them.
Yeah, if we need to do that, then it'll probably take a week. But if I manage to get sort of tops and tails pre-built so that we can roll them live, then yeah, they could be up same day.
Which has got to be the intent, because one of the things that really frustrates me about Astricon and their professional video team is that sometimes it takes up to 6 months to get the videos out, and they dribble out horrendously slowly. And then when they arrive, they're of interesting quality.
Yeah, they're of marginal technical standards, yes. So, I don't know, we're trying to do the best we can.
Also,
I'm contemplating buying another laptop to have an extra tool to be able to wield there, because I sometimes think having an extra hammer would be handy.
Also, I discussed with Michael Jarris. I spoke to him much longer. I've never really had any time to talk to him, and I'm sure we all did, right, Andy and James?
I have loads of time for Michael.
Jarris was.
He's a nice guy, and he knows his onions.
And he was there. And so the point is, anyway, we were talking, and we thought that maybe we would do an experiment with their Verto. Is that how you pronounce Verto?
It's Verto.
Verto. All right.
Verto.
WebRTC embedded.
Yeah. That maybe BKW would set up an instance for us to screw around like we did with Jitsi, just for the heck of it.
Well, I can do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have facilities to allow us to do that.
Well, we should try it just for fun. I mean, that's what we're about. That's how we roll. Correct?
Yeah.
Speaking of fun and such, just a second. I'm going to try something different here. There's an interesting little set of tools have come about. You guys may or may not care. But since
we do care. We care.
We care.
Deeply.
Accor. We care.
Okay, well, here's what happened. NewTek. NewTek is this interesting company in San Antonio.
How do you spell that?
N-E-W-T-E-K.
N-E-W-T-E-K?
T-E-K, yeah. And they have been for about 30 years slowly revolutionizing how video gets made. And now, am I going to be able to do this? Let's find out, shall we? AirTalk. Output. There we go. Let me change this to NewTek NDI video. I hope this is going to work. There's a lot for my little laptop to do. There you go.
Yeah.
So this is promoting James's dangerous demos.
Oh.
Are you still taking signups, James? You still?
Absolutely, except that's not 100% correct.
No, there's no free switch demo.
Yeah, where there are 4 prizes that we're giving, plus a free switch prize. So which one of the 4 are we missing?
Swan.
I don't know.
The Swan prize, of course.
Oh, I got this from Sharon, so it's probably something that she's still tweaking yet. It's a work in progress, let's just say.
Okay, well, Sharon made a little mistake in that she dropped off the Swan prize.
Okay.
It's a poor ducky sunk.
So there should be 5 bullet points. So the free switch demo is a prize that Anthony or the free switch team like to donate, but there will be the 4 standard dangerous demo prizes: most entertaining, audience vote, crash and burn, and the Swan.
Okay, so here's the novel bit about this, and where I started talking about NewTek is I'm showing you this, and if we want to sort of do this sort of thing, we're talking about ClueCon. And you can see, animated video and whatnot, and none of this is anything that you wouldn't expect from me. And this is what the schedule is going to look like on the Monday. So all of this is something that completely normal, et cetera. Rest of the schedule on the Monday looks about like that, excepting that this set of imagery is not on the computer that I'm joined to the Hangout with. Ooh. It's actually on a completely different computer, and it's being bridged across an NDI video link over gigabit, because NewTek has released this lovely little thing that's free that they call, I think it's just called Scan Converter. And what it is a virtual webcam tool that will let you look out at your network for any of these NDI type video sources and grab them and use them as a webcam. So that means you can all of a sudden take video off this computer or that computer and use it to feed the Hangout or a Jitsi or whatever, and then switch. So I believe that I can do, I'm just going to do this now, see what happens. Things on there. So I can go back to my webcam if I want to, but I don't have to. And so, for example, there's going to be free switch training, right?
You know what? This is why I just love just being around you, Michael, because you just keep on pulling these things out of your your never-ending basket of clever video and production stuff.
Now it's fairly high bandwidth. It's using something on the order of 100 megabits to do it, but that means that it's lightweight. So yeah, the dangerous demos, we can fix that dangerous demo graphic.
So what computer is that actually coming from? Is it actually in that low resolution that it's showing on there?
No, it's not. It's actually in beautiful high resolution. Only thing is, my laptop may not like all the things that it's trying to do. When I click on it, I see decent resolution in the Hangout. So, but my laptop may think it's quite burdened. It is, after all, 6 years old, and it's chugging along. But
well, you know what? It's probably about time to use ClueCon as an excuse to buy yourself a new laptop. Yes, is the answer. Yes, yes.
No,
I will go and order one straight away, James. Is the response to that one?
I don't want to buy a new laptop. But I might. Honestly, I don't use my laptop very much. Is the truth. So buying a new laptop is sort of misappropriation of resources around here.
Yeah, but you've got a cover story for it.
But does it actually need to be a laptop, or does it just need to be like a NUC or something with a graphics card in?
Yeah, and in fact, NUCs have become quite popular amongst the vMix user community. But also the new NUC, the Hades Canyon NUC, that actually has an AMD GPU in it, is quite capable. I mean, you're into $1,000 for it, all nicely configured, but it's a full-bore i7 8 series with a GPU. It's quite a gaming-capable machine, and it's, you know, hang on, that's supposed to have changed, and it didn't. Why didn't it?
Yeah. Wait
There.
for it to catch up. Yep.
There we go. I'm not using the mouse with the laptop, and
you know that among all this incredible technology, your ceiling fan is strobing you, right?
yeah,
And that's here.
just because it's cool.
The way you're not submerged underwater for some reason.
We live on high ground.
Went down? Oh, you're on high ground.
We're on high ground. Yeah, no, the water has gone down generally,
Oh, yeah.
but it was troubling. We got 6 inches of rain in 2 hours.
Wow. We could do with some of that, to be honest. Yeah, ship it over here for a while, would you? You made me think of something earlier when you said MailChimp software.
Yeah.
And I thought, I wonder if Major Domo still exists and is supported.
I bet it does.
It does, and it's on GitHub. So Major Domo is still around. It's the first mailing list software and only software I've ever used. And that was a number of years ago, maybe 96, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like over 20 years old and still going strong.
Hey, guess what? It's 10 minutes to. I have a schedule tonight I have to stick to. James is scratching his head.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember.
I love the angle, James. Keep that up.
Yeah, it's jaunty, isn't it? It's like
Well, it's not
when
jaunty, but you're also extremely high def compared to what you usually are. I don't know what.
I'm actually on an iPad Pro today.
Yet you have connectivity, so I get. Oh, the son's away. He's not watching porn as usually. Still, probably has part of it. Very clear.
What's the name of that video podcast on a Monday evening, which Giles and Martin, the
I don't know
videographers?
if Martin's a part of that. He may be, but
I think he is.
well,
World of Live Streaming.
yeah, WOLS.
World of
Live
Live
on YouTube.
Streaming.
Maybe we should all go in force.
Now you should know that I was the guy
Who got them on vMix?
who no, I was the guy who connected Dan and Giles.
Oh, that
Really?
That-
well
yeah.
done. That was a direct hit because not only were they hugely technically competent, and willing to undertake all the challenges that I threw in their direction. But they were also very nice guys as well.
Very cool guys.
Yeah. No. When Dan was looking for somebody to do it, I put word out in the vMix user community, and Giles connected me, and I said, you need to talk to Dan. He'll take care of you.
Super. Thank you, Michael. Great. And
yeah, well done indeed.
Yeah.
But I can't find a link to their podcast. I know it must be here somewhere.
I'll get that for you, James, because I was already on their site or on their YouTube channel. And I wanted to join, but these are these things where you go there and the timing isn't right,
I've not been on their show. I've watched their show. They are also at his channel. This is kind of funny. His channel is called Step Back in Time TV.
Is that why he goes around? You wouldn't understand the reference here to Andy Pandy.
Me.
James.
Pandy putting
well, could that be why he was wearing a pair of Andy Pandy overalls?
It's quite possible. I asked him what he'd done with the Flower Pot Men.
Not only that, but
hello, James.
Well, that would make Martin would be
James.
Except for his
there you go. This is not the first one, but that'll get you on the channel.
I've found Step Back in Time CIC.
There you go. Step Back in Time is the channel.
Yeah.
Now they also that whole group also engaged.
Somebody could put that on.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh my god!
And Tom Sinclair's Streaming Idiot is a good resource for people who want to tinker with video.
Oh, you already put it in. Okay. Anyway, yeah, vMix.
So you can see that he does all the right stuff, like classic Land Rovers, old computers, historic domestic appliances, old tractors, crafts, and things.
Who is that?
That's Giles.
He's a truly English geek.
He's an English geek of the highest order.
Okay.
And that's funny. He's actually, is that mine? He's actually got a playlist on his page that is all the ComCon videos.
Yep, he does.
Well, it's not surprising because he did them.
No, but they're good. They're probably very similar to the guys in at Kamaillo World. That's the same kind of people.
Yeah.
They're really passionate about what they do. It's the same in the world of wine, Michael.
And what was noticeable is that Giles there with his sidekick Martin, and then they had a bunch of really quite talented but
photographers,
young guys along who were clearly learning lots.
And by the way, where are those photos? They took millions of photos of everything.
Well, that's a very, very good question.
Yeah, we haven't seen them. Let's ping Dan.
But there were some extremely good photos being done for the social media prize.
Yeah.
And some of the best ones were actually taken with things like iPhone 10, weren't they?
I would like to, I need to go pretty soon, but I would like to mention that it's fairly likely that there will be a second ComCon at least.
Yes, and I have
year.
the dates. I have the dates.
What? No.
I have the dates.
How could they possibly? No,
I don't have the dates, but I know roughly when they will be.
But if you had nuts, you'd have dates as the joke goes.
And the reason for this is that I was talking to Dan earlier today about dates.
Ah.
So he says he wants to do it earlier in the year, which will be either late May time or early June.
Lousy weather. The clever thing would be to get together with Kamaillo World so that people, if they're coming over from the States, could do what's the other SIP thing that
Open SIPs.
Yeah, so coordinate Open SIPs, Kamaillo World. Open SIPs is in Amsterdam, Kamaillo World Berlin, ComCon in someplace in the United Kingdom. That would be clever if they could do that in a sequence.
On the other hand, the difficulty with that, though,
too long. Yeah.
No. The difficulty is you've got the same presenters or a lot of overlap in presenters doing the same or similar presentations. It's like,
Well, you'd have to avoid that exact thing, and just have it for the people who are coming. In other words, make sure that there are different people. But the convenience of having it in order would be for the attendees and not the speakers. But yeah, You got it. You're right.
If
Anyway.
if you had sufficiently different sets of speakers, it would be really compelling.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, Open Sips, I don't know if it's all the same. I don't know who presented Open Sips and then came to Camaillo lot. Well, I guess somebody like Lorenzo might have done both. Lorenzo Miniero, yeah, our favorite Napolitan.
Brilliant.
You gotta love all these people. How about Fabricio? No, what's his name? Who was the other guy? From the other Italian gentleman.
The other Italian gentleman.
Did I say that? From oh god.
From Sardinia. He still works for Limon.
Federico.
Yeah, Federico.
Yes, he's not Italian. He's Sardinian. He's a sardine.
Oh, excuse me.
He is a sardine, indeed.
Yeah. And he works in Paris.
But it was him that educated me about mains plugs in Italy.
Why? They're not European like the rest of us?
Some are, but there's also some weird 3-wide 3-pin thing.
3-pin ones like
in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was a shock to Son when he went over to Florence to find he couldn't plug anything in his Airbnb.
I think those ones date back to Mussolini, don't they?
Okay, does anybody have any finishing comments? Because the broadcast is in 58 minutes and 20 whatever that means.
You are having a good day today.
Yeah, terrible. No, I clicked that on because I wanted to see what it did, but it should have said minus 58 because we've been on for 58. So
incredible when we started off with
your tips and tricks. Yeah, we had nothing to say, and here we are talking about all kinds of stuff for ourselves, amongst ourselves. The Simwood Antine or whatever it is, the Bacardi Oakhart glass is all a part of the UC. Any final words? Next week we're going to have. Oh, we don't know. Okay.
Well, yeah, we'll endeavour to have a guess, won't we? We try very, very hard.
We're going to turn into the wild world of streaming.
We could have Giles on,
Yeah, we would have Giles on. And Martin.
Let's get them on. All right. Make that happen.
Yeah, and then we can talk about video and interludes.
That's right. And vMix. Let's talk about vMix. That'd be good.
Yeah, I've never come across vMix before, but then again, I'm not a great Windows fan, am I?
Well, we need to.
Also, it's not telecom related.
We're not telecom related. Did you forget?
We have telecom roots, but we don't have to necessarily stick to that.
No, Randy signed a divorce petition on our behalf.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah, that's right.
I am done.
So now it's Mr. Random Resnick.
Yes, and
with random subjects.
I have in the future. I'm hoping to get the Prince's first manager, who's an old friend of mine, and he just wrote a book about his experience with Prince and Al Jarreau and a bunch of people, and we hope to get him on soon. He's on a book tour, but his book is out. So let's do that. A bunch of other people. Let's look at the Verto.
But you've already used Verto. I mean,
I've been on it, but we haven't used it to actually inject our own. In other words, my idea was to do an actual session from Verto.
Yeah, and probably I think what would be really useful would be
They can do YouTube, right, Michael?
Yeah. They do that every week.
Yeah. So
the only thing about it is it's very the control of it is very mechanical, I guess.
Probably
Ken was really good at it.
Or somebody to give us a hand, actually, to let rather than us trying to screw around.
And there are lots of things you can do with it, like the green screen separation and mapping of faces. Yeah, so you can overlay the glasses and the moustache and things like that.
Well, that part's not that compelling, but the point is that we have seen Kathleen when she comes on with us.
Yes, have we seen Kathleen?
Yes, have we seen? We saw her last week.
I miss her already. I got video of Kathleen actually
I miss her
in the Zorb. In fact, I've got video of you, Randy, in the Zorb.
You know what? And I have video of you in the Zorb, so we can that pretty much nullifies the blackmail possibilities.
Yeah, well, apart from the fact I didn't fall over in the Zorb and you did.
Fall over. I was on my hands and knees. I didn't realize you were supposed to get up. Anyway, let me show you this because no one seems to have any final words, or do you? Anybody? Final words?
No.
The end.
No, and no. So
I thought for a second that Michael Mavroudis had arrived, by the way, but it wasn't Michael. It was the other Michael. Just getting
all right.
Very excited.
And here we go. Good night, everybody. Wait a minute. Where's the stop button? Here it is. Stop.